in the room. Come on in the room. Bucks lose it tonight, 129-94. Oh my God, it's disgusting. It doesn't even roll off the tongue. It's just nasty to say. Um, Bucks lose tonight, 129-94 to the Sacramento Kings, ending a road trip mercifully ending this road trip 1-3 in the West Coast. Come on in the room. Doc is our doctor. He writes out all of our scriptures. He gives us our medicine in our room.
Only at home. Only at home he gives us our
Right, yeah.
medicine.
We are live at the Cream City crossovers. The Guru Trey Crosby III.
Chris King.
You know what it is. Bucks after dark, but no JT. You know, it's past his bedtime. Getting a little up there in age, and so he can't hang with us on a nightcap. We out here like a little club shake. They call it Club Trey Trey.
There you go.
129-94. The Sacramento Kings get the win over the Milwaukee Bucks. And listen, I don't have a lot for you tonight. I mean, I really don't. I really don't. Get at us on the Twitter at TCIIESQ. Tons of comments coming into the Twitter about how people feeling. Give us your comments on the YouTube in the YouTube chat as well. We'll talk about it. This show is really about you guys and how you feel and where you are right now with this Bucks team. And we were talking about this, Chris, right before we got on. Like every time we start to praise this basketball team and we start to feel good about what they have going. We started to hate it. They're turning the corner. Here's the two-man game. Dame and Giannis. Here it is. They lay an egg. They lay an egg, and this was particularly bad tonight. So we'll try to do the best we can. We'll try to keep this high energy, even in a loss. 129-94. Sacramento Kings beat the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Let's do it. Let's start this thing off as we always do with the game recap, sponsored as always by the law offices of Daily M. Johnson. When you need defense, where?
Off the court.
Off the court, and the Bucks didn't have much. We do this all the time too. Every now and then, the Bucks have some defense on the court. They didn't have it tonight. They give up. I mean, almost a 70-point first half tonight. I mean, you thought the defense was fixed. It's clearly not. But again, the law office of Daily M. Johnson, we need defense off the court, serving Central and South Central Wisconsin. You know what it's doing all the time. He's giving criminal defense. He's giving traffic and OWI defense. He's doing TROs and injunctions. That's a temporary restraining order if you didn't know. The law office of Daily M. Johnson. Get at my guy, one of Marquette's finest, 608-893-8370. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up for free phone or in-person consultation. That's the law office of Daily M. Johnson. Let's do it. The game recap. Giannis did his thing every night. Every single night we talk about it. The guy who I know what I'm getting. We talked about the blue magic. He's blue magic because he's reliable, dependent. I know when I see that product, I know exactly what I'm going to get. 30, 13, and 4 from Giannis. 10 of 17 from the field. Didn't hit a three ball tonight, but was 10 of 14 from the line. Listen, that's Giannis. He does his thing. Jay Crowder, cardio. No points, no rebounds. Didn't put up a shot tonight. Straight cardio from Jay Crowder. Brook Lopez. You talk about, hey, listen, I don't know. I don't have a poll of all the 7-footers that are out there in the world right now or in America. Brook Lopez has to be in the running for one of the softest 7-footers in America. He just is. I mean, he got absolutely pumped. Carjacked, all of that. Like Domantas Sabonis went in. I mean, absolutely just took his lunch money, took his girl, all of that. Like I ain't never seen this. I don't know. I'm not 7 feet, so I don't know what that feels like. But I just got a feeling that if I was 7 foot, couldn't nobody tell me nothing. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing if I was 7 foot. Brook Lopez, everybody tell him something. Everybody gonna tell Brook something. He ain't got nothing to say to nobody. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, dog. I mean, people just taking the ball from Sabonis, looking at him, just laid up. I've never seen a 7-footer play more like a 5'8" guy in my life. But that's Brook Lopez tonight. He was a cone. You see those drills they do when they put the not a mop but a broom up. They had a broom. That's all he was. He was a broom. He was Broom Lopez tonight. 7 points, 4 rebounds. You 7 feet tall, you get 4 rebounds. Listen, man. Brook Lopez, terrible, horrible. Get off the floor. Malik Beasley with 11 points tonight. He only took 13 shots. I mean, he was just shooting the ball. 3-11 for 3. I don't have anything good to say tonight. 11 points, 3 boards, and hey, Dame Lillard, I'm right here with you. I put up. Hey, you know what? It just ended. We just ended February. I'll go 2 for 12 for you tonight. Shooting a tour date, 1 of 6 from 3, 10 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds for Damian Lillard. He was trash. Hey, go. Here's the thing. Oh no, I had him. I was gonna say some. So no, I thought he had 5 turnovers. He had 2 turnovers tonight. But Damian Lillard again, and I know how they were defending him, but dog, the guy who his main defender was Keon Ellis tonight. He made his 5th career start. 5th career start and was locked Damian Lillard up. Now, no, well, he was double teamed. Damian Lillard's not the only superstar who's been double teamed, dog. Damian Lillard's not the only superstar who's been double teamed. He's not the only superstar who has faced, on ball pressure or guarding him without the ball. He's not the only guy who's had to face that. Like, I know people kept doing that. They give Damian Lillard so many excuses. And again, it's other guys too, but Damian Lillard is the top 75 guy. So that's why I get on him a little bit more. And I'm not going to harp on him all night tonight, but I'm just saying, like, I can't do the excuses. I cannot deal with excuse after excuse after excuse. They double team. They were in his face. They didn't let him bring the ball. He didn't get to do it. Like, do you know they put up an entire defense called the wall for Giannis? And you know what, the first year he didn't do so hot. And now he's broken through it. The wall's like not even a real factor anymore. Like, teams try it, but it's not a real thing anymore. Like, don't give me that mess that you can't score because people are double teaming. That's trash, dog. Everybody gets that. Bobby Porter's 11.7 boards tonight. He was 4 for 7 from the field. Pat Beverly, 4 points, 4 assists, 0 3 from 3. Pat Connaughton scored early, but then he finished up terrible. 2 of 9, 1 of 7 from 3. He was trash. AJ Green with 3 points, 1 of 6, 1 of 4 from 3. And I actually blame Doc Rivers for that because again, AJ Green didn't play. He had 3 straight DNP coaches' decisions. So he came back. He had a 3 that he probably should have took in a corner. I think it was early in the half. And he pumped and then took it. And it was just like he looked like a guy who hadn't played in a few games. So you got to keep him in the rotation. So I'm not gonna blame him for that. And who knew? Danilo Gallinari, 7 points tonight. Hey, you get down 30. That's all you need. Danilo Gallinari is a baller. You put him in a situation where he's down 30, Hall of Fame talent, Danilo Gallinari. And Andre Jackson had a big dunk at the end of the game as well. Harrison Barnes, 16 points. Domantas Sabonis, 22, 11, and 8. Absolutely destroyed Brook Lopez. Kevin Huerter with 11 points. Keon Ellis, 7, 4, and 2. Keon Ellis had 3 less points than Damian Lillard. He's I don't call him a scrub, but again, he started 5 games total. And, he actually locked down Damian Lillard, basically scored with him. And another game of another guard outdoing and outdueling and outscoring Damian Lillard as De'Aaron Fox goes for 29, 7, and 6, 11 and 17 from the field. Look at the percentages from their starters. Huerter was 40%, Barnes 50%, Sabonis 71%, 10 of 14 from the field. Ellis 3 of 4, 75% from the field, and De'Aaron Fox, Swiper 64% from the field. Malik Monk 9 of 19, that's almost 50%. He put up 25 off the bench. So again, Alex Len puts up 5. Chris Duarte puts up 6 points and 5 rebounds as well. So again, it was a rough night from the Bucks. Go at what I saw tonight. They were underprepared. They didn't shoot the ball well. And here's what I caution though. I don't want people to just go, oh, it's a shooting variance game. Because that's what people will lean to. The Bucks they just didn't shoot the ball well. And again, is it true they didn't shoot the ball well? They were 7 of 39 from 3, 17%, 18% from 3. Yes. Like, will the Bucks typically shoot better than that? Absolutely. Sacramento, on the other hand, was 18 of 40 from 3, 45%. So was there a shooting variance? Yes, there was. However, I listen, you cannot take that as into account and act like that was the only factor in this game. Sacramento made 13 free throws. The Bucks made 27. So even some of the 3-point variants got outshined because the Bucks got to the line more. Bucks got to the line 35 times. The Sacramento's, I believe, 16. So the Bucks did double up Sacramento from the free throw line. So you had that going for you. Listen, the Bucks got pumped. That was the main key to ingredients for the story for me was the Bucks got absolutely punked. They gave up, like you said, almost 70 points, or over 70 points at the half. They did a little bit better in the second half, only giving up 54, but they couldn't score. They only put up 94 points. So, again, offense was off, shooting was off, defense was off, rotations were off, Brook got punked. The only person that showed up tonight was Giannis Antetokounmpo. And again, I just don't have a lot good to say about tonight. That's what I saw. Chris, what'd you see?
So they keep reverting back to the same issues. It's the same things that we talked about since Adrian Griffin was here, in the sense that, look, we just can't guard a soul. I mean, maybe that's just what it is on the perimeter. No matter who you bring in Pat Beverly, you throw in Jay Crowder in the starting lineup, and look, we're just too slow. And that's what I felt kind of made us start poorly tonight. I mean, you look at what happened in the first quarter, 8-0 run to start the game. Like, did you guys even show up to play? Like, that's what I was looking at, and that's what I saw. These guys were not ready to defend. The only guy who really wanted to show up was Giannis, and Giannis was doing his thing. Shout out, that dunk on Sabonis was nasty, by the way.
That was nasty.
That was tough. But, like, that can't be the consistent effort you're getting from this Milwaukee Bucks team. Like, this can't continue to be a thing, and it has been too much throughout this season. You're not guarding a soul. The only guy showing up is Giannis. And look, you like, that's 2 bad West road trips in a row. Now, I don't know how to assess this team. I don't know how to assess Doc anymore. There's a lot of concerns now, if that's how you're going to show up to play. Because we talked about it last show, in the sense that, look, are they playing with their food? Yes. Do we need to worry? No. Now it's you're getting there. You're getting there to where you're concerned to, when you reach the playoffs, if this same team keeps showing up, it's gonna be bad. So I don't know. There's not really much to say in terms of game analysis, because it's a freaking blowout. But the whole thing is like, I'm very concerned about what I saw tonight, because it's the same issues, same things.
Yeah, and I just wonder, like, how much of it is, to your point there, Chris, how much of it are you concerned about versus can you are you okay with this just being the end of a road trip, right? Is that what this is? This more end of a road trip? I can give them a pass, or are you looking to go, man? No, I'm actually concerned. I'm genuinely concerned about what goes on, about what happened here, because you talk about the road trip. You lose, you get blown out by Golden State. You lose a game you should have won against the LA Lakers, right? And then you do come out and you beat the Clippers. But even on the Clippers game, they're missing, their star players. I mean, this could have easily been if the Clippers show up with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. This could have easily been an 0-4 road trip. And again, it wasn't like the Bucks just took care of business easily with the Clippers, right? Like, that game, you said to go win that basketball game, and then you come out and do this against the Kings. I mean, easily could have been 0-4. I don't know. I guess I wonder, like, how concerned should you be about what you just saw on this 4-game swing?
So you already saw a ton of uninspired basketball through the first 3 games of that road trip, and you snuck one in with the Clippers win that really shouldn't have been that close. And you factor in the collapse in which was the Lakers game and the Warriors game, where you just started poorly against a very hot team, a team that was obviously coming off a big blowout, right? So obviously, you wanted to try to even out the road trip. You wanted to go 2-2 and feel like you actually did something and trying to secure that 2 spot in the East, and you couldn't do it. And this is not like you were playing the top seeds in the West. It was not as competitive as you're getting ready to play in terms of Sixers, I guess, Suns, and Celtics back to back to back, right? Like, that's a tougher stretch, in my opinion, than those 4 that you just played on the road. And you had all the time in the world to adjust to that 3-hour difference or whatever it is on the West Coast, and you just didn't have it tonight. You didn't show up. You didn't play inspired basketball, and I think it is really concerning, because at some point, when you keep reverting back to the same issues that we talk about defensively and not having your role players show up, obviously we're still awaiting if Chris is going to come back, but when you're still going back to those same issues, it makes you worry about the long term and how far this team can go and what its ceiling is if you're going to play 2 good games or 4 good games, and then you're going to go lose one because you can't play defense, you can't guard a soul, and it's just going to keep spiraling, right? So that's where I'd say you're a little bit concerned.
Yeah, the Bucks do. I mean, they are going to go home. I think they go home. I think they got like six of the next seven at home. So I'm assuming they're going to look much better. They're going to play better. But again, what you like on the road is going to be interesting too, because against Boston, you're not going to have the home court advantage if that's a matchup that you get into. And so you have to find ways to win and manufacture wins on the road. The Bucks just have not done it. To I think they're right around sitting around 500 on the road this season. They just haven't done it on a consistent enough basis. And before we go to comments, I do want to just kind of go into again the shooting tonight. Brooke Lopez 2 of 7, Malik Beasley 4 of 13, Damian Lillard 2 for 12, Pat Connaughton 2 for 9. Those are your biggest culprits tonight shooting the ball. I don't know, again. What do you make of Damian Lillard? Because I mean, I guess that's my thing is well, we can go to Dame. You can talk about Malik Beasley, but I guess when you're looking at this in a vacuum, whose fault is it for the? I mean, was this just a poor shooting night, or I mean, should Damian Lillard have been more aggressive? He takes 12 shots. Beasley took 13. I don't know. I understand. You know, he's getting doubled and guys are coming out, but it just seems like that he gets checked when he starts off and he's not shooting hot. It's almost like he checks out to me. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel when I see Damian Lillard play sometimes. And you know, he'll just I got to keep shooting, so I got to take a couple more shots here and there. But you know, I don't know. It just wasn't enough attacking for me. It wasn't like he was trying to get to the basket. I've seen him split double teams before. He didn't split any tonight. You know, whose fault is this, Doc, for not scheming it up properly? Like what? Like who do you take? Who's at fault here? Like Malik Beasley, I feel like just missed a couple. Like he had some wide open corner three looks that he just missed.
Mm-hmm.
Dame obviously had a little more, you know, juice that he would have to get through to penetrate through the defense, and you know, wasn't like he was getting wide open looks. But again, he's Damian Lillard. Like whose fault? Who's responsible for what took place, especially with Damian Lillard tonight?
So I think the attitude is definitely an issue. Like once you miss your first couple, obviously they're not afraid to keep shooting them. We know that. But the thing is like you could see it in the body language. Like there was one three and Malik Beasley took in the corner and went in and out. Like that should have went in. But he goes and throws his hands up while the Kings are running down the floor trying to get a fast break. It's that pouting, it's that stuff like that, and it's getting down on yourself that you really don't need to do as a professional athlete. Look, we can overlook bad shooting nights, but it's when you start to pout about it and show it on the court and start throwing up BS off of screens and chucking it up, hitting the side of the rim like Dame did tonight. Like that's where you get it wrong.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
you ultimately let it spiral into an even worse game, and we're going to call you out. And so I think that's a big issue. And then, yeah, I do agree. I think Dame got lazy at the start of the game. They went out to an 8-0 run automatically, and then Dame started turning the ball over, and he was lazy in the sense that he couldn't get to the rim, right? It's an aggressive, physical Kings team inside of the paint that, you know, he couldn't get to the rim. And so once that, I do think he checked out, Trey. I think you're exactly right. And, yeah, that's part of the reason for the offensive struggles. I think that they did a great job of trying to find open shooters, and you talk about Malik Beasley getting so many looks and stuff like that. Like, Giannis creates that on a consistent basis. So, regardless of how you scheme the game, I still think you're going to find those looks. It's just about not getting so down on yourself when you're missing.
Yeah, and then you know, to your point, okay, you still even if you're not scoring the ball well, you're not shooting the ball well, you you can't give up 129 points. Like you know
Right.
where's the effort and intensity defensively? Like why do you not have that passion to be able to get stops? The Kings shot the ball well. They got every look they want to. That's why I can't just go with shooting variance because they got to the rim at will. They got every single look they wanted to get. Mike Brown thoroughly outcoached um, Doc Rivers tonight too, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I guess from a defense, from the start of the game, you mentioned it was an 8-0 run. I believe the Kings led wire to wire. They were the more physical team from the jump ball, from the opening tip. They were the more physical team. They imposed their will on this basketball team, and they didn't let up. Like they looked like a basketball team that had come off the loss and wanted to get a win. And you know they didn't care that the Bucks were standing in their way. It was one of the best teams in the East. They just it did not matter. Did
Mm-hmm.
not matter. They went out and took care of business. So again, you have to give the Kings credit for doing that. And again, they shut down Damian Lillard. he's he's the head of the snake, and he gets shot down. And again, the Bucks just did not recover at all. Let's go to some of the comments. The 11 King says, "Damn, no legs tonight." I'm not going to no. When you say no legs, I mean I don't know if you're trying to make an excuse or not. I'm not saying it's your, but that almost implies that, like, end of a road trip. That's no. I'm not going with it. Daniel Barry Sports Highlight says, "Bad loss." Mac for a better tomorrow says, "The Bucks are old, hard to keep up with young and gun teams. Better pray they don't see the Pacers in the playoffs." We talked about this before. You do think that, again, things are supposed to slow down, more half court offense in the playoffs. That's something to keep on the back burner, because you may indeed see the Pacers in the playoffs. Mario Luna says, "Is John Horst an overrated GM? The way the roster's constructed, it doesn't look like a championship team to me, but I'm still going to try to be optimistic." Let's stay right there, Chris. I want to stop on Mario's point there. Not necessarily is John Horst an overrated GM, because I think the point you here's the thing. When you have Dame and Giannis, I don't want to say like the roster shouldn't matter, but you have enough. If Dame is playing like a top 75 Hall of Fame player, like that is enough. Like, Giannis covers up so much stuff with flawed rosters. The thought process has to be Dame and Giannis together are going to cover up a lot of our flaws. And through over 60 games now, it seems as if Damian Lillard has not been enough to cover flaws of other people. And that's true, because when you're covering flaws, you don't have your, like I said, the quote-unquote Dame stands and the people who are on Dame's court. You don't have people having to, like, make up excuses for you, because there's no excuses to be made. Like, you are covering up for everybody else being trash around you. So you don't then get to say, well, this person's not doing Dame's supposed to. Giannis isn't setting screens correctly. Well, it's Adrian Griffin is not. I'm not bringing the ball up every time. Like it seems when you have excuses as to why you're not playing to the level that you should play at, then there's no way that you're covering up the other bad things that other people are doing. You see what I'm saying? And so I guess where do you land on some of that?
Yeah, I just think that obviously, you need better from Dame to start the game, to like during the game when Giannis goes out, right? Like I think we had cut it to 6 at one point during the first half, and then Dame comes in, and then all of a sudden I look up and we're down 14 again. Like, it's stuff like that. It's stretches like that where guys have to hold their own, and it's not just Dame, and it's not just the Giannis thing. Like, right? Like the role players have to do their part. Like, Green Ranger was in the chat saying that the wide open missed shots are killers, and they are. Like, you're watching Malik Beasley get a wide open three that most of the guys around the league are knocking down, and he misses it, and they get out in transition, they just get a bucket. And it's those type of swings that ultimately harm you against teams that like to run and teams that like to get out in transition. So I think that the guys just have to hold their own. They have to do their part, and they have to be consistent doing that.
So I'm looking at the chat, and there was one in here that I wanted to get to. One, do you guys from Iron Man Clan TV says, "Do you guys honestly believe Doc is ready to change our rotation?" No, I don't. I don't think when you say change the rotation, I mean, he's going to be forced to, because Chris Middleton's going to be back. So I think that will change the rotation kind of on its own. But I mean, I will say, AJ Green played tonight over Danilo Gallinari. And when we talk about that rotation changing and the rotation shifting, it's gonna have to be like tonight was a night that Brook Lopez probably shouldn't have played, or at least you give him an opportunity and you realize he doesn't have it. You got to take him out. And so I think the question is going to be, how fast will Doc Rivers pivot to say, I don't think Brook Lopez can play tonight. I got to play Giannis at the 5 and keep rolling like that. I don't know. I don't know if he does that at all.
Like, there's already been, like, Golden State. That was a game where he really shouldn't have been in the game at all, and he didn't do anything about that. So that's just like, I hope that's the case. Like, I hope Doc recognizes that in some series, in some games, that Brook Lopez just can't be out there because they're attacking him. They've got young guards who are fast, who can abuse the mid-range or take him to the rack on the drop coverage, stuff like that. So hopefully Doc recognizes that. But do I think he will? Probably not.
And then Deco123 says Beasley lost us the game. They gave us the same looks from the first game, and Beasley converted on wide open looks, and he didn't today. I fundamentally disagree. Beasley, no, did he shoot well? No. Did he play well? No. But lost the game. How did he lose the game? Okay, let's say he shot 6 of 11 from three. He shot 3 of 11 from three. Let's say he put in half of those and went 6 of 11. That would have been over 50% from three. That gives you an extra 9 points. The Bucks would have had 103. They'd lost 129, 103 with those three extra threes. Because again, 6 of 11 is not a bad night from three. So no, I'm not going that Malik Beasley was the culprit or was the problem. Again, not when I have Dame Lillard who shot the exact who basically did the exact same thing. I can't. Again, and that's what I think. I'm not blaming role players. Like I think there's appropriate times to blame role players. And again, I agree. Malik was he good? No, but that can only be said when you have your stars who do play well. Then I can go look at the role players and say, well, what did you guys not do? But when I got stars that play the exact same, who go 2 for 12, I'm not looking at. He followed the leader. You 2 for 12. He was 4 for 13. Hell, Beasley shot a better percentage than Dame Lillard. I get it. They were open. I get it. They were open shots. But again, that's Beasley makes $2 million. That's why Bees make $2 million. Damian Lillard's a superstar. Like there's a difference. Camel Toe Harris 69. Y'all wow. Says I thought
that's why we don't read the names out loud.
I read them. Camel Toe. I thought Doc would fix the defense. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Listen. We thought the defense. Listen, and that's the other thing. I'll ask you guys. Ask you, Chris. Like, have we been fooled? Am I a fool? Have I been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, run amok? Have I been? Am I a fool? Because I thought this defense had turned it around. I thought there was a corner that had been turned, and then next thing you know, you give 125 to Golden State, give 129 to Sacramento. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, everybody got every look. Like, and it's not just you gave up 129, 53% shooting from Sacramento, 45% from three. Like, we read off the shooting percentages, so it's not like you just gave up a bunch of points. Like, they were efficient.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the thing is, like, there's been flashes, and we've seen better defensive performances under Doc than we did under AG, right? But the whole key word around this season right now is inconsistency. You see it on the offensive end. You see it on the defensive end. You gave up 142 to the Kings last time in an overtime game. Well, it's 129 now. Like, it's just, you're inconsistent. You can't guard. And I feel like a lot of it, maybe just the effort level that we've talked about, that we've harped on so much, is like, when they lock in and they want to play defense and they want to guard these young guards and cut them off when they're trying to dribble drive and make sure that they're staying on their man, not letting guys get loose in blind spots and stuff like that, then this team could have a good defense. I think it's just the inconsistency of it, the inconsistency of how much effort they want to show on a day-to-day basis, and that's why they've started to just give up just barrages of threes and drive to the hoop, all that. So, yeah, inconsistent.
Well, yeah, I think the Kings just came in with a really good game plan, and they hit their threes. And we know again, I know we talk about Adrian Griffin a lot, but like, that was what he wanted to stop, was the 3-point shot. And we talked about it, he overcorrected. And this was a game. You say whatever you want. This was a game that we've seen in the playoffs happen to the Bucks over and over again, where a team got high from three. Like if this was a playoff game, I know it wasn't. The implications are different, but this is how the Bucks will lose in the playoffs. Is somebody's got you. If you're getting knocked around from three, it just hurts all the different places of your defense, because and the Bucks again try to play a little bit better in the paint, but again they didn't even do that well tonight. So again they gave up buckets all over the place. It just didn't matter. Bolton 77 says, can you make a list of teams you think we won't have a chance against in the East? See, the question you ask is, don't think we won't have a chance against. The only team that I don't know that I say, so I guess I can't, the list is none. Like, won't have a chance against. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's any team. I'd ask you, Chris, like, is there any team in the NBA that I would say the Bucks, they just don't have a chance against? I don't know. I don't know if that's me being like overly optimistic, but no. I don't think that is. I think it's just. Yeah,
It's not. I mean, it's
yeah,
just like when you have two of the best players in most of the series versus the playoff teams, then you're always going to lean towards that. And regardless of how they've been playing and how they've been playing on the road, I'm still glad that they were able to at least turn a little bit of it around in terms of the eye test after All-Star break, right? Right? Like what are they, 6-3, 6 or 7-3, something like that. 7-2 after All-Star break. So it's not like the sky is falling after losing a game like this. It's just there's been too many of these performances, right, that make you kind of concerned for how they move forward. But yeah, I don't think that there should be any team that we don't stand a chance against. Even Boston, even I've said it on this podcast, I think we can win the finals, and I think they are going to win the finals. But for me, that's slowly starting to change with some of the things that I've been seeing.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that the Bucks just can't beat. Like I'm trying to think of it. Like if you want me to be honest, like the two teams that I'd be the most worried about would be like obviously Boston. Boston's the best team in the NBA right now to me. And then in the West, I mean, again, it's Denver great. I mean, yeah, they are. There's no question. To me, that the team that I would probably be the most worried about in the Western Conference may come as a surprise to you. It would probably be the Golden State Warriors, like the team the Bucks just lost to on this road trip,
Mm.
just because, like, I think they have the things like when you have Denver, Brook Lopez is in play. Like Brook Lopez can play against the
Mm-hmm.
like he is a weakness against the Golden State Warriors unless you're gonna make him not be the softest 7 footer in America and you're gonna put him on the paint some. You go, but the Bucks won't do that. He plays like a guard, and so if you're gonna play my 7 footer like he's a 6'3" wing and shoot threes all night, he's very easy to defend. So you don't have any advantage with him out there. He's slower, he's older, and yeah, the Golden State Warriors can just run him all night long. Now, again, maybe that changes if you don't play him as much. Maybe he's only getting 20 minutes a night. I don't know what Doc will do, but yeah, I'm definitely. I think Golden State worries me from it because again, everything is about matchups. Styles make fights, and I don't know that we match up. I don't think that we don't necessarily match up with Boston. We match up okay with them. I think the problem is they're just so much deeper. Like that. That's my biggest issue or worry with Boston. But everybody else, I'm not saying the Bucks should be able to. Can they beat the Cavaliers? Absolutely. Should they be able to beat the Knicks? The Pacers? Yeah, they should be able to beat these teams.
Hey, even
So
if even if
go ahead.
even if we do meet up with the Warriors, you know what that means? That means we had a successful playoff run. That means we got to the
Absolutely.
finals. So
Yeah.
that's not a bad worry to have. I do think that we don't match up that well versus them, but that just should show that there's nobody really to necessarily worry about until you maybe get to the finals or Eastern Conference Finals. That's the good thing that the Bucks fans have going for them, and that's what we have going for us.
Well, I didn't say, and I just everybody can take whatever they want. I did not say you can't worry about these teams.
Well, like
I just said
for
there's
for
that.
what the comment said, like saying that,
Yes, yes.
yeah. So
Okay.
that you would be worried to face or whatever the comment said. I can't remember.
Let's go to Twitter. See what people are saying on Twitter. I think Twitter was probably even harsher than what's happening in the chat right now. Max's All Star says the Lakers loss is the worst one of the trip. Bucks generally always play bad on the last game of a long road trip. I don't know why I had to have that Lakers game with no Bron. I agree. At Light Seraph says Dame needs to self-reflect if he really wants to win a championship. We need consistency from him. When is Horst going to learn roster construction? Chris coming back is not the solution. We have no playable pieces with length and athleticism. Giannis needs help, not leeches. At KJBD11 says there's a lot of delusion among the Bucks fan base in terms of this team's status as a contender. They just aren't legitimate title contenders at this point. So there's some people who saying the Bucks aren't title contenders. At Drew Behringer, how many title contending teams bookend a road trip with 30-point losses? There are 16 games left in the regular season, and we still have no idea what this team is about or what their identity is. Let me ask you this, Chris, because that was Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers, when he first got to this basketball team, the very first thing he said is when he went to the locker room and he asked what their identity was, and they didn't have an answer. Doc Rivers has now been with this team, I don't know, close to 20 games or so as the team's head coach. I ask you, what is this basketball team's identity? Because again, that to me, I won't go there about because I think when the Bucks win, the guys like get in these interviews and they do an Eric name and they're athletic and they start oh, Doc, we love Doc, and Doc is doing this, and Doc da 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 da. And they kind of like they kind of throw some shade to Adrian Griffin, almost without saying it, alluding to he didn't know what he was doing. He's kind of whack, whatever. Which again, everybody can feel whatever they want to feel about it. Now again, I think Adrian Griffin probably would have put up more than 94 points tonight, but that's beside the point. What is now? What is the? We've seen Doc Rivers now in place for a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. What in your opinion is the identity of this basketball team? Do they have one?
So all right. So I think I have the answer for this, and I think that it showed right when you played the Denver Nuggets past All-Star break. It showed when you went on that 6-game win streak and you were undefeated past All-Star break, and that was a team who could defend, who could score the basketball, who was clicking on all cylinders, who would move the basketball, who would get out in transition, run a little bit after stops. And it's a team who played great in clutch time. But where I think that we don't have an identity is the fact that you went away from that so quickly after taking a 3-hour flight. Like, I don't know how that happened, but it started with that Warriors game. You gave yourself a ton of excuses, by the way. I felt like a lot of people, a lot of fans, but also the players. I think I heard Giannis say, oh, they lost by 52. Of course, they're going to come out hot. Like, so automatically you started off on the wrong foot. Yeah. And then you go and you don't defend down the stretch after your offense looked decent versus the Lakers. You don't defend down the stretch. You lose that one. Then you don't show up for a game against a bad team. So then it spirals into that. So, like, that's where I think that there is no identity right now because you're so inconsistent. Like, I'm going to keep harping on the inconsistencies, but it's true. Like, they can't find it. It's tough. We keep spending time on propping these guys up on the YouTube videos, on the shorts, and trying to give them encouragement. And then they end up just contradicting themselves the next game. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't think there is an identity right now, but do I think that they can solve it down the stretch when they get Chris back and hopefully he molds into the team as well as we want him to? Yeah, then they can find something because maybe he gives you some consistency that we know he brings, but if he can't stay on the court, then that won't happen.
Mike Hawk in the chat keeps just commenting Doc time. To answer that question, I don't know. I don't. I thought we were moving forward, kind of closer to, like you said, on that 6-game win streak, what the identity was of this basketball team. Hard, they're gonna play a little hard-nosed defense. They're gonna play a little bit better defensively. They're gonna get. I thought. Again, it was going to be effort. They're going to outwork you. They're going to play a little more physical. Pat Bev's going to bring that dog mentality. Like, that was what I thought it was trending towards. And I guess what I would say is, so in the first 6 games past the All-Star break, that's what they showed me. And then in the 4 games since this road trip, you've undone a lot of that thinking because, again, you get ran by Golden State, and then you get ran by Golden State. You get punked by Sacramento, and sandwiched in between all of that, you find a way to when the going got tough late against the Lakers, you had no answers for D'Angelo Russell. So again, and the team that's like, nah, we're gonna guard. You ain't giving up 44 to D'Angelo Russell. Like you see, like I'm not giving up a career night to a guy like D'Angelo Russell. So again, that's why I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see what happens when the Bucks are home for the next 6 of the next 7. They're at home. Maybe they'll try to work to recorrect some of those things. Still going with some of these comments. At AZip70 says 2 massively glaring blowout losses on this pathetic trip lead to a lot of questions about the direction of this team, including coaching. Doc has zero reason moving forward to not play Green more, as well as play Marjan, Beauchamp. Yeah, again, we can give up, Adam Z. We can give up the Marjan Beauchamp thing. He's not playing. Like as much as as much as people may want him to play, and as much as potential that he may have or may be able to bring, it's over. Like he's not. It is over. Once they decide to terminate Adrian Griffin, it was over with the young guys, especially like I said, the guys Marjan Beauchamp and really Ajax too. It's just over. Kashia Taj says this team isn't winning it this year. We aren't demonstrating any consistency on the road. On defense and the offensive side can be as ugly as the play random years. On top of that, don't see any role player that can help this team ascend to a title. Sorry, Giannis. And then we'll do two more here. I'll do three more. Rated R Nuke 414 says stupid, just a stupid game tonight. Throw the tape in the trash. At JR Horvath says low energy, trash performance. This team does not have the vigor or the talent to win it all. Too many role players, too many players in decline. I would do everything possible to move the old ass talent, including Dame this summer. Giannis deserves better. Sad. So you got people who want to move Giannis. Move Dame Lillard. And then one more. Mad Skills 789 says the Bucks are old, unathletic, they're slow. Doc has obsessions just like Bud did with certain players. If the Bucks play a fast young team in the first round, they are out. Kings and Golden State gave the blueprint on how to beat the Bucks easily. Doc made zero adjustments. And then on the adjustments wave, yeah, Doc didn't make any adjustments. And that was what concerned me the most about moving on from hiring Doc Rivers was, I just have never known him to be like this great adjuster in the moment on the fly. Like, it's kind of whatever he has, if it's working, it's working. And that's why I wasn't surprised that in the first half they were blitzing and getting the Dame, and things are being made tough for him. And in the second half, nothing, like, the floor did not open up for him at all. Nothing changed with his game. Like, he the same things the Kings did in the first half, they were able to execute that exact same game plan in the second half. The only thing that was different was they didn't hit as many shots.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and so that's the question I have for you, honestly, is do you think that, so after you read those questions or those comments and everybody commenting tonight, appreciate you tuning in, do you think that Bud kind of created a little bit of, too high of expectations for these two new guys as head coaches? Because ultimately, right, like, there are some games in this, in this regular season where obviously you want the Bucks to look better, look more dominant. But to say, like, trade Dame and stuff like that, like, do you think that it's based off of those expectations for what we were used to for the past however many years Bud was here?
Yeah, like they always say, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And so, when I think there is some truth to that, where what kind of like the blue magic, you knew the product that Mike Budenholzer was going to provide. You know what he was going to bring, and then when Agent Griffin comes in, that product doesn't look the same. What these guys are used to, there's change. And again, and I don't, and again, I think there was, from the player's perspective too. Like, not saying again, not absolving Agent Griffin, but from a player's perspective, they didn't adapt well to the change that he tried to bring. And so because they didn't adapt well, the play kind of suffered. But you were still winning. But then now you bring in Doc Rivers, and everything's still a little shaky. So yeah, but the funny thing to me though is, and that's why I never understood, and again, for the life of me, that's why I just never understood this whole panic about the regular season, or especially early, was because you didn't fire Mike Budenholzer for what was happening in the regular season. We talked about this throughout all the first 40 shows we did. Like, yeah. Mike Budenholzer was fired because in the playoffs he was stubborn. And so I thought the whole point was, let's try some different shit. Let's just try some. Let's try. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So if what we were doing initially was, let's blitz through the regular season, we have this plan that works, and then we go get to the playoffs and that gets obliterated by hot shooting or whatever, and we don't have anybody that's going to adjust, then why don't throughout the regular season we just try we try a bunch of different stuff. It works. Some things work. Some things might not work. We kind of figure it out, and then we get to a point where we know what we want to do by, the last 20 or so games, 20, 25 games, and then we roll into the playoffs, and because we roll into so I'll give you one example. Zone defense. Mike Budenholzer never played zone. Like notorious, I think the Bucks played like 2% zone for I believe they played like in Bud's last year. I think the Bucks played 2% of possessions for the entire year in zone. They've smashed that now. They play zone. Under Adrian River, they were playing zone almost every other night. They get into a 2-3. And so many teams do it. And then you saw Eric Spoelstra did it to the Bucks, where he would go into a zone and they run this hybrid zone and all these exotic type of zone defenses that would work against the Bucks. And the Bucks didn't have any answers for anything because, number one, they didn't practice their own zone. So because they didn't practice their own zone in practice, when they come into a game, they didn't even know how to exploit a zone, right? And so it's just one of those things where and that's just one example of like we can try a bunch of different things, and then when you get to the playoffs, if guys are killing us 1-on-1, okay, bet we better remember. I mean, I remember the Portland Trailblazers game where literally the zone in the third quarter brought the entire team back. The Portland didn't know how to attack it, and it's like, okay, you found a defense that like that works. That's something you can hold in your back pocket, and boom, if you're getting killed, let's run those zones and see if we can throw them off here. But again, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm getting away from the point of your question, but like I thought that the whole point was let's do some different things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work it out throughout the regular season. Some things will look good, some things may not look good, but who cares? We're still going to win at a high clip, and then we'll get this thing worked out in the end. And in the playoffs, we'll be able to have multiple things that we can go to offensively and defensively. That was what I thought we were looking to do. And then it seems like everybody saw it and was like, nah, I'd rather just win all throughout the regular season and find one thing that works really well. And like I said, and that's what I say this too. If Boston falters in the playoffs, it's going to be because they, to me, now do they have multiple guys that can do different things? Yes, but their offense is predicated around shooting threes. And I promise you, if their threes do not fall at the rate that they need them to, just go watch them play. They start to fall apart as a basketball team. Like they start to do weird things. They start not to move the ball like they should because they're so predicated on this is how we score. And I just didn't want the Bucks to fall into that trap of this is the only thing that we can do.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And that's why at this point, there's not really much of a reason to overreact to the regular season losses and losses like this because, shit, we might hire a new coach. We might fire Doc in a couple of days after a road trip like this because of what we saw with Adrian Griffin. Obviously, we've seen improvements. There's no doubt about it since Adrian Griffin. But we've also seen the team revert back to the same old stuff.
Right. Right.
So that's just my take on it. But I wanted to ask you if there's just like this false expectation for Bucks fans to always win every damn regular season game and be the one seed. And when ultimately, I mean, the one seed only got you so far. Look, you didn't even win. They didn't win the title as a one seed. So, you know.
Yeah. No. 100%. I want to ask JP Davis 1982 says, what happened to the effort on defense? They've sucked every game defensively on this road trip. Chris, and I want to throw this back to you too, because I remember saying this. I remember getting some flack because I said it on Twitter. I was asking about, I said, ooh, when the Bucks when they first got actually it was really under Prunty, and you saw the energy and effort level pick up, and I was like, yeah, well, that's kind of what happens when you get a new coach. Do you think that some of that has worn off? That hey, the new principal's in town, Doc Rivers is here, we got to play hard because of Doc, and now you kind of you settle into it, almost like going into class. You kind of settle in a little bit. Start of the year, professor, okay, everything's. I'm taking my notes the way I'm supposed to. By about the time you get to, close to the middle of the semester, yeah, I think I got this. I think I know what I need to do here. I don't need to take notes as attentively as I don't need to listen as attentively as I was at the beginning of the year because I have this sense of comfort as to what I need to do for this professor or what have you. Like, do you think that's why the energy and effort has kind of dialed back just a bit?
So that's the concern, right? Is that you can be lazy like that and get away with it because you were already set up for such a great record. One, you already were 31-13 before you brought in Doc or whatever, 32-14 after Prunty, whatever. So then I guess it does, like, you find a way to create these excuses for yourself, I feel like. Obviously, I'm not in the shoes of an NBA player, but they see what these fans say, oh, back-to-back. They have Chris out still. And these guys revert back to those same stuff. And it seems like they use that as a crutch to be able to overlook some of these bad performances. Look, I'm with everybody in the chat that says, or every Bucks fan that says they want to compete every night. But, when they're not doing that and they're using some of these injuries and stuff as like a scapegoat, then that's where I have a problem. They become very lazy. Like, there were even sometimes in tonight's game where they would score and they just got beat down the court. Like, and that's a common theme with this Bucks team. It's just lazy basketball, lazy defense. And, yeah, I do think that there is some complacency, I think that is the word for it, with just how their record has been set up, who they have on the team. And, they've been able to at least lock up a 2 or 3 seed most likely. So I do see – a little bit of that laziness coming through.
Yeah, so you're talking about K and A family says it's not expecting to win every game. It's competing every game that I care about. And yeah, no, I totally get some of that. Of course, Todd Merrill's in here all the time, talking about how he wants to trade Dame Lillard. Some of that stuff again, you have to let's just wait and see what happens in the play. Let's wait and see what happens here. Okay, like I don't. I guess my thing is even if you feel down or even if you I'm upset with how the season's going, I don't like can we get through like he's not being traded today. Like you're going to roll through this season. Remember 2021, I'm not saying anybody here, I don't know who was doing. Remember 2021, a lot of people wanted Chris Milton gone. A ton of people wanted Chris Milton gone. Remember, I mean, we talked about wanting Bobby Portis gone. Now, again, he's kind of the same guy, kind of reverted back to some of the he balled for a second and he's back to kind of doing what he does a little bit here. But Chris Milton, a lot of people want him gone. And again, I see in the chat now, a lot of people want him gone. I'm done with Chris Milton. Listen, like at the end of the day, I just want to see what happens with this basketball team. And Chris Milton, for what it's worth, I don't think he played bad when he was here. And I see people who almost have accused him of like milking an injury. Again, I don't think it's him. I 100% think it's the organization that kind of gets behind this and wants to make sure he's 100%. I don't think it's him at all. But again, he gives the Bucks a really good chance of winning because Chris Middleton's on, even if he's 80% of himself, he is a good player. Like he still shoots the ball at a high clip, and he can play the game. I think his biggest issue is just having the ball in his hands too much, initiating and dribbling. I think tonight's a perfect night to where I think Chris Middleton would have helped his basketball team 100%. He 100% would help his basketball team with some timely buckets and just stabling the offense. Sometimes you need some of that from a guy like Chris Middleton. I think he can provide that steadying hand at times. And then I think there was some questions about Jay Crowder. And again, I think it's gonna be situational. Like do you like Jay Crowder again? He played so much better before he was injured too. But I don't know. I think he does some things well, but yeah, he's a guy that it's tough to. How many minutes did he play tonight? I just want he he only played 15 minutes. So yeah, he got Doc got him out pretty quick. But yeah, I just think there's situationally there are times where he's going to be able to help, and then there are times that he's not. He kind of gives you that PJ Tucker role. But again, he's the guy that's got to play high energy, high effort. Even if he's not scoring, has to do the little things. And again, you're going to need. I'm telling you, Jake, you're going to need a Jay Crowder. I think people are like too down on certain folks. You are going like if the Bucks work, let's just say Embiid gets back with Philly and you get a Philly matchup, you're gonna need a Brook Lopez. And I know I call him soft, but you're gonna need a Brook Lopez. Jay Crowder, you play Boston. I promise you, Jay Crowder's gonna have to play. He's gonna have to play because you can't throw Pat Connaughton in on these wings like you. I mean, you can't like Beasley on these. You're gonna get killed. You're gonna need some guys like Jay Crowder who are gonna be able to help against these type of basketball teams.
Yeah, I wouldn't jump the gun on the roster at all yet. Like I do think that they very. I mean, I think Horst actually thought about this and thought about potential matchups when bringing these guys in. Jay Crowder, I mean, he better be freaking good. I mean, we gave up how many picks for him? So yeah, like stuff like that. So I do think that there is a reason for most of these guys to be on the team. Like I do think Beasley could also have some series where he comes off the bench, but we're playing him extended minutes because he has it and he's a volume shooter. So just like the trashing of the players that you never know who can help you in the future is probably not it right now. I mean, we kind of wait till the end of the season to see who you want gone, but I do think that this team is still very good personnel-wise. It's just we've got to lock in. I do think that it is a little bit of the effort stuff because otherwise you wouldn't be seeing you hold 5 teams under 90 points in 5 straight games, and then all of a sudden you just let people go off. So, yeah, I think that those role players serve a purpose, but I also think that they could be better in terms of just giving the effort and, trying to lock in defensively and the adjustments from Doc because I think that'll help as much as anything else.
I'm never anti trashing guys, but I will say I am anti get these guys off of the team. Like, yeah, you can trash me was fine, But I don't think it's like, oh, we got to ready trade him like yet. Like, no, I mean, if a guy's not playing well, I'm always for let's talk about what they're doing in the moment. I don't think you have to, like I said, go back to Dame Lillard. I don't think you have to like, oh, we got to support him for the entire. No, I don't do that. I'm gonna call it like I see it, but like Chris Middleton, get him out of here. Again, that's something to evaluate. And again, I agree. After the season's over, we're gonna have to evaluate this roster, top to bottom, and figure out what needs to happen at that point. But it's not just yet.
You know, it's funny. It's funny.
Ahead,
So
yeah.
I mean, obviously getting. So I trash my players from Dayton basketball all the time. But the thing is, don't be surprised if the next game they come and hit 2 straight buckets in overtime and clinch that mug for you, and then you're like, all right, I see why we got him now. So I'm obviously the inconsistencies is something you can point out and stuff like that. And I trash players all the time, so I get it. But saying get off the team is crazy for a little bit because then they can prove you wrong pretty quickly.
Real quick before we go to game balls, K&A family says about like officials have now new directives to allow more physicality. Ajax needs to be out there. Here's the problem though. When Ajax is out there, like he almost started to get like afraid to shoot the ball, and you cannot be out like the Bucks can't play 4-on-5. Like he's got like if he's going to be out there, you've got to be willing to when the ball swings to you in the corner. Not only like he almost got to the point where like he was afraid to even drive and take a shot. Like you have to be confident in your abilities out there. So again, and I'm not saying it's his fault, but my thing is when you're not getting consistent minutes, you're not playing, it's tough to manufacture that now with 15 games left. I just think it's a lost cause. Like I don't think in 15 games you're going to get him ready to play playoff minutes. And so I'd rather play the guys if you're going to do it, like unless you're going to do it like starting now, which again, I just don't, it doesn't, there's nothing Doc Rivers has shown me that he's going to do that. I'd rather start getting your playoff lineup ready instead of playing around like you're going to insert Ajax in the lineup for 15 minutes or 10 minutes here at a time. I just don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. So anyway,
there's nothing that Ajax can do at this point to prove to Doc that he's a playoff minute guy. Like it's just not gonna happen. There's only one guy out of the young kids, and it's AJ Green because he's hit a couple big shots. And those honestly, if you want to be completely honest about those two guys under AJ Green in Marjan and Andre Jackson Jr., they're just not as developed offensively as AJ Green. They don't provide what you need offensively for this team yet. So it's just not going to happen. So, I mean, you can say all you want about it, but they're not coming in.
And then before we get to game balls too, so Ty Merrill says, Horst brought a championship, but mortgaged the future, which looks pretty bleak at the moment. But here's, when you say future, are we talking about this year? Like I get where you're going when you say I guess I don't. My point is when you say mortgage the future, the Bucks title window is right now. And I know it looks bleak. Okay, maybe. But the Bucks currently sit in second place. Like they're not out of this thing. And I think that's what's okay. So Tom says I'm talking about next year and after. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but as a GM, I mean, yeah, are you looking to next year a little bit? Are you looking for something? Yeah, but the most important thing is year to year, he's got to be looking at a way to win a title every single year. And again, we thought you could have maybe thought, oh man, they're done after next. Could you imagine the team? He's like, I've seen Drew Holiday play. Could you imagine the team if they just ran it back with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton? And so we've already seen the ability that John Horst is gonna say, hey, I'm about to get another superstar here. Let's go get Dame Lillard. And again, Dame Lillard maybe past his prime, whatever. We'll figure that out. And we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But again, the Bucks are going to swing. Like John Horst has shown the ability, the want to, the fortitude. I'm going to swing for the fences every single time. And again, before hindsight's always 20/20. Has Dame Lillard played up to expectations? No. But was it 100,000% the right move at the time to go get Damian Lillard and try to win championship? Absolutely. You would do that every day and twice on Sundays. And again, even knowing what I know now, I would probably do it again because, again, call me crazy. I have a feeling that there is a chance that Damian Lillard just absolutely changes his level of play and is a playoff riser when the playoffs come.
And if that's the case, I'm super excited because, look, we haven't been getting that type of level of consistency or those performances that we've seen when he was in Portland. And so I think, just with how comfortable that two-man game has kind of gotten, right? Like that thing could really elevate what this team can be and what it can do in the playoffs. And so I think that's why that's a great move in the offseason, what Horst did, because you just wasn't happening with Drew Holiday. And then you got to think you would have still suffered the same injuries with Chris Middleton this season. Right. So now, would you rather have the two-man game and maybe no Chris in the playoffs, or would you two-man game with Dame and no Chris in the playoffs, or would you rather have the two-man game with a little bit better defense on the perimeter, but 4 of 23, 4 of 25, 4 of 27 from the field with Giannis trying to get 60 every night. So that's just kind of what you gotta consider on both ends.
Yeah, and Todd's giving us revisionist history now. I would rather have Drew and Grayson and three Vincenzo. Like again, Grayson.
People forget about what Grayson did. He be shooting us out of series, dog. Like,
right? Did you forget what happened in Miami where Grayson got the ball and had looked like a deer in headlights? Like you see him in Phoenix right now, hitting a couple threes. Do you not know that Malik Beasley had a couple? Malik Beasley was in the 3-point contest, and it wasn't just because, wasn't for no reason. Malik Beasley was there because he was hitting a bunch of threes. Grayson's doing the same thing. And then DiVincenzo went to Sacramento, and they got rid of him. DiVincenzo went to Sacramento. Like DiVincenzo's on his third team since he left the Bucks. Come on, I mean, what are we talking about here? DiVincenzo, he's on his third team. Like it's not like he just like. So you tell me you would have waited 3 years for DiVincenzo to be DiVincenzo? I can't get there with you at all on that one. So yeah, here we go. And then Deco says even Pat Bev giving up picks for again. I think Pat Bev's been great for this basketball team. That's just me though. So far, I thought again, and you gave it was for campaign. Like you'd rather have campaign over Pat Bev. Come on. Let's do game balls to get out of here. Late night on the East Coast. Game ball. Who you giving game ball to, Chris?
The Beam. The Beam, I guess. Shoot. Hey, I just think that I'll just give it to the Kings. I think that they really showed that they can hang. I've had some questions about them before in the past. Is this real? Is this thing? And it's been going on for a couple of years now, right? Like they're on the verge of becoming real. And De'Aaron Fox is a legitimate point guard in this league that is dangerous. Like. His game has come around, and so I'm going to give it to them. I thought they were well prepared. Obviously, what's his name? Mike Brown outcoached Doc. And, yeah, I mean, that's all you can say. They came prepared. They came ready to play. They wanted some revenge after Dame hit the Dame time in Milwaukee against them. And, obviously, the Bucks didn't show that same effort. So, honestly, to me, it's not that big of a deal that you lost this game. Disappointed that you didn't keep it close. Disappointed that – now the inconsistencies are starting to show once again, and we're reverting back to the same things. But, I do think that the Kings were a big part of that. I thought they played really well.
Yeah, I think they absolutely did play well. I'm gonna give my game ball to Keon Ellis. I mean, the guy comes in, he's his fifth start of all time, fifth start ever, and he absolutely shuts down Damian Lillard. He's an undrafted player. From Alabama, averaging 3 points a night in the NBA, and just came in and again, I know it was a concerted effort, but again, Dame Lillard goes 10 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, Keon Ellis was the primary defender on Damian Lillard, so I got to give him a lot of credit, cutting the head off the snake and not letting him get going, and I think that shut down the entire Milwaukee Bucks offense. Let's look around the NBA just a bit. Tonight, and let's see what we have going on. The Knicks beat the Sixers. Bucks are still a half game ahead of Cleveland for second place. I don't think the Knicks are, and so they're 4.5. Well, I guess let me read there. They're 3.5 up over New York. I guess it's still in reach, New York and Orlando. I guess they're not too far behind, but you're talking about 16 games left and you're 4.5 back. 5.5 back. Is it outside realm possibility? No, that they get caught by the 4th seed and below, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Bucks will stay up there. And again, we'll see what happens if the Cleveland Cavaliers can catch them. Pacers beat the Thunder tonight. I didn't see that one, but sounds like they had a good night. Halliburton 18 and 12. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still put up 30 points. So that's a good win for the Indiana Pacers. Grizzlies beat the Wizards. Spurs lose by 2 to the Rockets. The Celtics continue their winning ways, 123-107 over Jazz. They have a soft schedule too. Celtics are gonna cruise past 60 wins this year pretty easily. And then the Timberwolves beat the Clippers. I think that apparently Kawhi Leonard left that basketball game. He played 12 minutes, he had 6 points. Kawhi Leonard was injured. I actually left the game and went home. I think he had a bad back or something and left and went home. So
He's
it's
an
just funny
interesting
to me.
cat, dog.
He is funny. Like apparently he said it was. I've never seen like it would have been. Apparently it would have been better for him to go home and rest at home versus sitting on the bench. But I'm like, is it better to go home versus being? They don't have like a training facility that he could have been at or like done some type of rehab that during the game. I just think that's odd. They well yeah go home. He's probably watching a movie, putting a heating pad on or something. That's kind of interesting to me that's happening. Real quick, KNA family says the only thing trades aside about is Deontay Johnson. I'll get to my thoughts about some NFL stuff and some moves. I want to ask you real quick because and I definitely want to get John in on this the next game, but because he talked a lot about Aaron Jones. What do you think, Aaron Jones now signing with the Minnesota Vikings? A lot of Packer fans / Bucks fans and Packer fans now a little upset about that. Is that like? It's not the same thing as Craig Counsell, but I know people just don't like that. Like when guys go to rivals, and especially when apparently Green Bay was offering $6 million and he goes to Minnesota for $7 million. What do you think about that?
So just fill me in. Did he sign after Josh Jacobs came over to Green Bay?
Yeah, well, I think once they
so
did
after they signed Josh
him.
Jacob,s
the Packers released him. So I mean,
okay,
yeah.
So why are we up in arms about that? That man did exactly what he should do. He's gonna get his what Pooch used to say, get it back in blood. Yeah. So I that's it just is what it is. You undervalued the guy. He was great for you last year. Obviously, there's been some injuries throughout his career that have kind of hampered him and not allowed him to reach his full potential. But this guy is a great running back, and that's kind of a slap in the face when you could have went elsewhere with the money. Obviously, Josh Jacobs is really good back, and he's going to be really good in Green Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, but I just think that wasn't the move that you ultimately had to make. I thought Green Bay could have went and got a receiver, T. Higgins on the block, stuff like that. A guy who can really help your young quarterback, and you stick with Aaron Jones a little bit more. But ultimately, look, I have no problem with it. Transfer into the same, or not transfer, sign into the same division, and get that get back and show them what they missed out on. I get it. People do it all the time in every sport, so I like it. I like it from AJ.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, and again, I'm not mad at anybody. I think the Packers fans are always getting their feelings a little bit, because they saw happening with Brett Favre. But I mean, what do you want him to do? Like, I think it's like, well, anybody, but it's kind of like Saquon going to Philly. Anybody go to anybody but Philly. But like, yeah, you didn't value what I brought to your football team, and so like, how do you now upset that I go to Philly? By the way, I think Saquon's going to kill in Philly. Like, it's going to be a monster out there for the Eagles. And again, the in-division rival, and I think that's the thing. A lot of Packers fans are saying is like, well, he's going to the Vikings. The Vikings aren't even going to be good. They just you got rid of Kirk Cousins. They got Sam Darnold now quarter. So it's almost like, yeah, you just went there specifically to play us twice a year. Which could, I don't know, there might have been some motivation here to do that. But again, you let him go, you can't really be upset. And I think it was a good business move for the Packers too. Like, I think that was, again, I like Josh Jacobs. I think he's a good running back, and probably a little more durable as well. So again, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at any party for doing what they do. And again, the running back market in general just shrink. I mean, it just has continued to shrink.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it has gone. So it's like when you go, well, he went for $1 million less. Well, it wasn't like a bunch of backs just getting a ton of money. It wasn't like he just gave up $12 million a year to go straight to the Vikings. Like, there's just not a lot of money out there for running backs. So I mean, I think that's just been a bit of problem in general for the backs. But again, we'll get into that a little more. I just want to do that really briefly, but because it is late, we'll get into all that the next time we meet, which is I need to look at the schedule. Let's
Sunday?
see. No, they've got to play before Sunday.
Play before Sunday? All right, bro.
They got to. Oh, wow. Wait. Oh, yeah, they play Thursday night. So okay. Thursday night against the Philadelphia 76ers. That is 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern tip. So yeah, much earlier for us there. So
There you
again,
go.
so Thursday night against Philly, and then they'll play again after that. You're right. I think it's Sunday night noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern against the against the Phoenix Suns. So that'll be fun. You'll get a primetime ABC game with Kevin Durant and Giannis. But again, you get a great opportunity Thursday night. The 76ers are absolutely reeling. They stink right now with no Embiid. They are in. I mean, the way they're playing right now. So I'm just looking, just really quickly. I'm looking at the 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I mean it's disgusting. Like all of those teams are on losing streaks right now. Philly is 4-6 in their last. They're the 7th seed, 4-6 in the last 10. They're seventh right now. Miami is 6-4 in their last 10. They've lost three in a row. They are half game back of Philly, so I could easily see Philly being the 8th seed probably, and Miami probably beating them in that 7-8 matchup. And then there's gonna be the chance for whoever, Chicago, or I mean I don't know. I think Trae Young's out for the rest of the year. Is Trae Young coming back at all, or is he just done?
I don't know. I would assume
Okay.
he's done because they're not good. So
They're gonna make the play-in, so I don't know if he may try to come back for that game, but
I think he's out
yeah,
for the rest of the
okay,
season.
but yeah, so maybe I don't know if DeRozan and tries to get a win over Philly. They like I said, either one of those teams is going to be in some rough shape, and that's going to be interesting. I would love personally if Miami is the 8th seed going up against Boston. That would probably make my day if somehow Philly was the 7th seed. But I don't know, something's telling me that the way it's going to work out is Miami's going to end up being the 7 and Philly's going to be the 8, and then we're going to have Miami Milwaukee first round series again. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we definitely will. Bucks need to go ahead and take care of business against the Philadelphia 76ers on Thursday. We'll be here at the Cream City crossover. Any final words, Chris, after a pathetic loss tonight to the Sacramento Kings, 129-94?
Just say if you're subscribed, go ahead and wait for some videos and go ahead and like, share, tell a friend. We'll be back and we'll be back even stronger. Look, these are a lot more normal start times for us now, so expecting some bigger crowds, some bigger comments, a lot more people in there. Chat be popping, and hey, this is March, baby. So we're getting into March Madness. I'm excited for that too. So, yeah, I'm not going to comment too much about this game. I just think the Kings played well. We didn't bring it. It just is what it is. Looking forward to the next three. Should be fun on the Cream City crossover.
Absolutely, that's what we want to see. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's take this one. Let's throw it into the trash, and let's keep moving forward. Cream City crossover, like we said, back Thursday night. And again, like you said, those start times a little bit better for us. So we want to see you like, follow, subscribe, comment, all those good things helps us out a tremendous amount. We keep giving this content to you right here at the Cream City crossover. As Chris told you, tell a friend and tell a friend about the CCC, the Triple C's Cream City crossover. Follow us everywhere on all of our social media platforms. This has been a Cream City Media Group production. Oh, I want to thank our sponsors as well, Law Office of Daily M. Johnson, as well. This has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Guru Trey Crosby III.
Chris King.
Don't take no wood nickels. Courage.